So, my name is Lasse Seppänen. I'm the CEO and co-founder at PlayRaven, a new startup here in Helsinki, focused on disruptive game IP for touchscreen devices. And I was invited here to talk about the future of mobile games. I know something about the past of the mobile games. I started in the first wave of mobile games back in 1998, 1999. Text message, WAP, those were the times for a game developer. And then the next wave, back in 2003 to 2005, the color Java phones with games first time running real time on the devices. And that's the time when we were building a studio called Sumea together with Ilkka Paananen. And Ilkka, of course, later became the Supercell CEO, whereas I went to the AAA Xbox development and headed a $20 million project called Alan Wake at Remedy Entertainment. And I was invited here to talk about the future of mobile games. And I was given a generous time slot of 10 minutes, so I'm going to reveal everything in 10 minutes, right? Well, maybe more practically, I'm going to talk about our thinking about the future. So here we go. PlayRaven, first of all, 18 months old. We have a solid team. Close to 10 years of experience per person. The specialty about our team is that most of the people have the similar background as I do, so both mobile and AAA console background in the same person. Our game portfolio consists of 3 games at the moment, so Spy Master already on the market, and 2 games coming out for soft launch next spring. We're backed by fantastic investors, Creandum, Jari Ovaskainen, London Venture Partners, and of course Tekes is always a good partner. But back to the topic of what is the future of mobile games? How do we approach this topic? And when we were setting up a startup, this was a huge, huge question, and of course it remains a big question for us. Another way to look at it is, how do we make a game that is wildly profitable? Because that's actually the goal, right? And we need to look out to the future, but how much into the future? I'm thinking it's 12 to 24 months that we need to be concerned about. So, I mean, the top grossing, of course, the top grossing lists and what is already successful is dominating a lot our thinking in this industry. We look at it a lot. I'm sure a lot of the other game companies look at it a lot. But it tends to become a bit too serious in the sense that if it's not on the top grossing right now, then it will never be. That's sort of a wrong conclusion, because at the same time, we have to remember that the current top lists represent the past. Those games were made, and inception of those games was maybe a year or 2 or even 3 years ago. And the future is not going to be defined by old games, right? By definition, I think the future is going to be defined by new games eventually. So another way to look at it is, I mean, if we were a soda startup, would it make any sense for us to think that, yeah, the Coca-Cola sells a lot, so we need to make cola as a startup? There would be no way to sort of survive with that kind of strategy. We would need to differentiate from the rest of the market and look for openings. So how do we find the openings in this market? The way we look at it at PlayRaven is that this is a new mass medium. We need to really internalize that. There are more of these devices than there are televisions in the world. And television sets and the audiences behind those television sets are very much like segmented. There's a rich offering of content. Some people like reality TV, others watch quality TV series, some people like soap operas and so on. But I don't think we're seeing this kind of rich offering in the App Store right now. If we look at that list of what is actually on the top lists, those games have a lot of similarities. There's a lot of repetition of same themes, you know, unicorns, knights, similar color schemes, everything's cartoony and so on. And even in game mechanics, how many village builders are out there, farming games, match 3 games and so on. So why are we seeing this discrepancy between a new mass medium and like a very narrow clustered offering of games? And we believe it's because of the speed of increase in the install base. So iOS and Android have grown really, really fast. Within just a few years, 1 billion devices were added. it's so easy for us as content developers to think of a few years back and think that the market is kind of similar as it was in 2009, 2010. If you look at that graph, it definitely can't be. I mean, there's been so many people added to it. What do those people want? How do we find that? One thing is clear to me. One size no longer fits all. It just makes no sense with 2 billion devices out there. So really, this box that contains the current successes, it is important information. We shouldn't ignore it. But at the same time, I think the blue ocean is outside the box. And that's where we need to be thinking about it. This market is not mature content-wise. There are vast blue oceans. And we tested this with our first game, Spymaster. This one came out in September this year globally. And we did everything different from anything else in the App Store. The visual style, it's a World War II strategy game based on real history, and so on and so on. And we got a lot of feedback during development that, wow, you guys are really going for a niche. So, nobody's going to care about this game. And we were also a bit hesitant and not so sure about how it's going to actually do. But our mission is to explore and locate those blue oceans, so let's try it. And it just blew us away. It became a top 10 strategy game in 99 countries. And especially interesting was that it was all over the world. I mean, US and UK were our main reference markets when we designed the game. Top 2 there. In both of those, but also top 2 in India, top 10 in Philippines, top 10 in Hong Kong, and so on. So it really wasn't a Western game for Western markets like we ourselves had even thought about it. And we felt that this really validated the approach that let's try something different that is not on the top list yet. So the answer to the question, where is the future? How do we get there? I mean, it's like the exploration. Christopher Columbus, there was no way he could have mapped the new world without going there, right? So we just have to launch portfolios of titles that are different and unique. That's what we're doing at PlayRaven, and that's what I call upon all the game developers here today to do, because I believe the really big successes for all of us are in building new categories of games with new visual styles, themes, and game mechanics with reaching new audiences. Thank you.